Ladies and gentlemen, this is our second segment of the program. And again, I'd like to be very clear. We're doing this for one thing, to make you prosperous. The more you listen to my group, the more prosperity we will bring to you. The more you listen to the animals like Wendel R.Managat, who is a pawn of John Concepcion, I believe. So, John, you can now call me up anytime. I can be reached anytime at 405-503-8511. This is for John Marie Concepcion. If you are the person behind this animal by the name of Wendel R.Managat, because the whole American populace is fed up with this animal who keeps on maligning my good name and stealing American intellectual properties. I'd like to be very clear that I, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, are not associated. I am not associated with these Filipino criminals led by Wendel R.Managat. Okay? So moving forward, because we will already submit this to the DOJ and other authorities, we would like to be very clear that we are ready to make a commitment to President Trump that we can end the Russian war between Ukraine and Russia in the next 60 to 100 days, or even less than that. Because we already read what the Russians want very clearly in terms of territorial land and other requests, if I may say. And on the other hand, we on the private sector who believes in Russia, that it is up to Russia really to end this war, not Ukraine. It is up to Russia. And I hope that the approval, the Vladivostok approval, will be approved by the president. But I would not like to spell out the details because of, obviously, American national interest. And therefore, I'd like to simply say that my group is willing to propose to the president and put money to sustain these efforts, because without the budget, again, this is nothing. Absolutely nothing. But more importantly, without the intellectual properties that will be respected by Russia, more so, that will not make this peace solution in early 2026 happen. So it's really up to the president. But from our side, we are very confident to say that we can end it. It can end. And I hope the group of President Trump will not listen to the Concepcion group, to the criminal Managat group, which everybody is laughing why these animals, Mr. President, of all places, are here in Oklahoma. And the reason is obvious. They are here every single day, day and night, night and day, stealing from my company, U.S. registered company, Midwestern Business Advisors, LLC with 9 divisions. Because the problem with Vladivostok is the security. If I bring in top caliber CEOs all over the world, on a scheduled basis that is, will Russia guarantee the security? Because if you're listening to me right now, President Putin, it can happen. Believe in Trump, President Trump. Trust in him. So that we can fast forward the economic rebound of Russia. And in fairness to me again, Ukraine copied way back last year the security guarantees that I was mentioning in Singapore. Very clearly. They copied it. And therefore, if there are guarantees from the side of President Putin, my group is willing to fly to Vladivostok and have a marathon negotiations with the Russian groups to end the war immediately. Because it is very obvious that there are so many factors to consider here. Not to mention the budget, because it's very expensive. So the solution to that would be to get sponsors, which I already have. The question now is whether Washington will approve the contents of this private initiative proposals of my group. In fact, the Democrats and the Independents told me not to do this video. They said, no, don't do it, don't do it. Make Trump suffer more. I said, no. I am doing this because I know that my group is sincere and can deliver. By the way, deliver, because some of the white guys said that, are you delivering products? No, I was all laughing. Deliver means to achieve. Okay? Deliver. I'm shocked, you know. They don't know what deliver. They thought I was delivering like Amazon. No. I'm not Amazon, you know. I'm here to achieve, to deliver to President Putin that if you consider this Asian American option, we can end this war tomorrow morning. Tapos na. Many have died. We can't, we can't do anything about it except the fact that, as I proposed early on, it's blood money. We cannot resurrect, the dead Ukrainians. It has already happened. Let us move forward. Pay them money, hard money, prosper with them, collaborate, and achieve security guarantees first thing tomorrow morning. Because the first step is for President Putin to trust our group, that we Americans are trustworthy, not for one day, 1 year, but forever. Just like what we did in Manila, in the Philippines, when Russia was on a turmoil. We absorbed all the Russian immigrants, and they did well. They became prosperous in Manila, believe it or not. And it can happen again. Because as you know, President Putin, if you're listening to me right now, Ben Bernanke has tried to copy all the proposals I set forth during that time with President Bush. I'm talking about President George Walker Bush. What happened? Nothing. Look at the American economy now. Nothing. But because of President Trump's initiatives, we will see an overnight, hopefully, overnight success. Because some policies do not happen overnight. However, I have again the solution to that. Again, out of America's national interest, I will not divulge them because again, Bernanke's group led by Mayet Boris Mendoza might use my good name again. Just to be very clear, okay? Just to be very clear. And above all, we will achieve the impossible. They said that the 5.7 excuse me for that. They said that the 5.7 gross national product was impossible. We will achieve more than that. It will be more than that. And if the turnover of power will be to another Republican guard, or should I say Republican president, then everything will be fine in the next decade. We know what to do. The Democrats do not know what to do. We know what to do. We are redefining retail, would you believe? Because again, I was copied by this Filipino animal by the name of Jojie Angeles. And he fooled Walmart, who up to now is hovering in net profits, would you believe, for the last 20, 30, 40 years at 1 to 3%. Again, I have the solution. I was robbed. I was nudged. But not anymore because we have a more professional, wisdom-oriented CEO of Walmart by the name of John Furner. Because it's all about leadership at the end of the day. And as I said, you can call me up right now, Jojie Angeles, okay, who maligned me with San Miguel and who was so dirty to follow me in all over the Philippines, in, what is that, Metro Manila. I just let it go, I just let it go because, I don't want to go down to his level. But to cut the long story short, my fellow Americans, we can solve the Russian war first thing tomorrow morning if these plans will be approved. Because believe it or not, Russia trusts Gavin Bautista and my professional team. Why? Because we already made them prosperous in the past. We have a good track record. We're not coming here out of the blue like Jojie Angeles, the animal, okay? Fooling of all people, Walmart. No. We're not like Jerry Francia, fresh guy, We're not like Eric Francia, fresh guy. No. We know our place. And this is what I'm going to tell you. It's going to be very fast. It's not going to be this, what's happening. No. We know what to do step by step. And as far as the budget is concerned, as I said, we're willing to get sponsor for this. Because it's very expensive, to handle with Russians. Very expensive. This is not, the typical diplomacy that you see. It's higher or more productive than Henry Kissinger. And you know what the budgets of Henry Kissinger are. And this will be everlasting. This is not a one-time hit that, hey, we signed the peace accord. No. signing the peace accord is only one stage. What after happens is more important, because that is where the security guarantees will be implemented overnight, as against what's happening to Gaza and the Israelites. And I'd like to be very, very clear, okay? I'd like to be very, very clear that if you listen to me, this will happen. But if you listen again with these animals, okay? These pakialameros is what we call in the Philippines, Tagalog high-class society. Then nothing will happen, obviously. Nothing. The deaths will continue. This will be a long game. The Russian war will further destroy the petroleum industry. And above all, Europe will be in this continuous quagmire of a sinking economy. Europe will be the final collateral that will suffer eternally if this will be a long war in the next 5 years. So it's either we solve the problems this month of January, you can see it, or we don't. January will be very crucial. And I'd like to reiterate, if you listen to me, Gavin Batista, I'll give you the results. If you listen to these animals, Filipino animals, I can't do anything. So to Christy No, Secretary of the Department of Human DHS, right? To Secretary Noem, do not listen to these animals. They might have some money, some couple of millions, but this is a long formula solution. The formula is long. It's not short. These Filipino Chinese animals will shorten the game, and before you know it, we'll have another Gaza because of the budget. Okay? And as I'm saying, I'm going to tell you right now, Christy Noem, Secretary Noem, if you want to talk to me and not listen to these animals, I am simply at 405-503-8511. That is my US cell. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary, which I am in full support of you, do not listen to these animals, which I am going to provide that long list. Of course, I think they hit this deal here and there, but well, good for them, But now they are wanting to destroy my given business enterprises using my good name. I will not allow that. Probably in the Philippines you can do that, but not in America. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to move forward with our next issue, which is Ford Motor Company. What's happening in Ford? Ford is a great brand. It's, oh my God, it's so in demand in Asia. If you know how to push the numbers, it's undoubtedly it's one of the most popular and favorite brands we have in America. But why did the Ford F-150 EV fail? It is very clear. It is an engineering issue. In other words, Ford has not been getting the right people, from the engineers to car dealerships. And I hate to sound like a broken record, Mr. Chief Executive, the Honorable Jim Farley, up to now, this animal by the name of Lee Rogers continues to gallivant in GUYMON, Oklahoma, without any remorse or any attempt to return back the $7 million investment, who happens to be my brother, because I want to be very objective here. Dr. Martin Bautista, a rural doctor at that, and Dr. Sylvia Tan, more than $7 million US. And as you know, Lee Rogers and Mindy Rogers was part of the largest scam in U.S. history, that happened in Lubbock, the REAGOR DYKES car dealership scam, which amounted to more than $116 million of fraud. And Mr. Farley, as if nothing happened. Why? Because they're doing it again. They're doing it again and again. And the person is there. His name is Lee Rogers. $7 million US robbed from a rural doctor by the name of Dr. Martin Bautista and his wife, Sylvia Tan Bautista. And there is an old proverb in Asia of all billionaires. If you cannot solve a $1 solution, how can you solve a multi-billion-dollar solution? I'm sorry, if you cannot solve a $1 problem, you can never solve a $2 or even $1 billion problem. I repeat, this animal by the name of Lee Rogers, I don't know who his backer is. I don't want to guess, but I have already some names. The Honorable CEO of Ford Motor Company, Jim Farley. I know some of his backers, but I just wanted to confirm with you that I cannot divulge it right now because I'm talking with my lawyers. This animal, okay, will again destroy the good name of Ford Motors at the rate things are going. And his wife comes here sometimes. His name is Mindy Rogers. And they're doing all over again. Who are the backers? I will inform you, Mr. Farley. But what I'm trying to drive at, is the Ford F-150 viable? Of course. Of course. The problem is you do not have the right people. How can the Ford F-150 fail? It is so in demand in the gasoline version. The problem is you do not have the engineers, sir, who are qualified to come out with a better version of what you have right now. Not to mention the electric charging stations, etc., etc. People, qualified people, talented people, is the main problem of Ford Motor Company. How to do that? Again, I have the solution. I have the formula. And above all, in any business, especially in retail, as you know, it's all about the dealership. If the dealership carries your brands based on the latest innovations in retail, technology, logistics, sales, marketing, finance, and R&D, then you're good. However, that is not true with Ford Motor car dealerships. Ford and truck car dealerships. No, it's not true. There are only a few Bob Moores who are qualified to truly present your brand not only to the American public, but more so to the global car dealerships all over the world. And this I can tell you, Mr. Farley, I can solve your problems. However, let us, as I said, make Lee Rogers return back the $7 million he robbed, he fooled from Dr. Martin Bautista and his wife, Dr. Sylvia Tan Bautista. If Walmart believes in me like anything, Costco believes in me day in, day out. All the top Japanese companies believe in me. You go to Europe, Germany, Italy, France, and of course our beloved Spain, they look up to me. And again, if I am found bluffing, making half-baked statements, I will effectively resign as a U.S. citizen. However, if you see my record as impeccable, then Ford has a bright future, has a very wise group of people, not only with me, but my connections all over the world, that can make it happen overnight. Unlike this, these people who are trying to associate with me, they're not even, as I said, I wouldn't even be thinking of doing what they're doing to me. That is how low these animals are, including Lee Rogers and his wife, Mindy Rogers. The details are so low that this cannot even happen in Somalia. Probably it might happen in Madagascar and probably in Myanmar, but not in America. How can these people, by the name of Mindy Rogers and Lee Rogers, become part of the Ford Motor Car dealerships? Are we that desperate for these animals to become part of a car dealership by the name, with the trade name of Ford Motors? Not a chance. If I were the CEO of, let's say, the Midwest for Ford, not a chance, Mr. Farley. Not a chance. Because the process I have is so tight that we can see an animal in 1 second by the way he presents himself and answers these questions. I can see a liar in 1 minute. In 1 minute. And therefore, this is what I'm going to say, Mr. Farley. I am putting my reputation on the line with that Ford F-150 EV because I know it's going to be a bestseller. It's just that you do not have the team of professionals that can make it happen. Again, my number, my U.S. cell phone number is 405-503-8511. That is my U.S. cell phone number. And to all my fans all over the world, there is so much power that the transportation industry in America can provide you. Tesla is just booming, Why? Because of the leadership of Elon Musk. That's the bottom line. Who are you talking to? Is he the person in charge, responsible enough to answer all of your questions, whether it be complaints, whether it be requests, whether it be special requests, or what I call, can you do this for me? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, this video is so important that millions are just wanting to hear what I have to say on this subject matter on transportation. Because transportation is the essence of economic growth. Look at what's happening in America. Every day there is a turmoil out there. You know, the crash of cars, airplanes, would you believe, crashing almost every other week. That will all stop. Because of management, leadership, guidance, new rules, new regulations. A lot of people don't understand what regulations are all about. They say, you know, your United States is very regulated. No. Regulations are sometimes good, are sometimes bad. And I will tell you explicitly what good regulatory measures can be done in the transportation industry. Regulations, policies, and above all, management procedures that will shock the world. But the problem right now is we Americans are suffering because of poor managers, poor executive teams that are just out there to make a living but does not provide the results needed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to close this particular segment, and all I can say right now is we cannot be that detailed on the proposals because of obvious reasons. We will only tell you what's going to happen next based on the proposals that will not be stolen via FedEx, because, you know, as you know, I already told you this, I already submitted proposals in the past with President Bush, but it was just stolen, and I don't want to happen that to me again. And I would like to be very clear that this will all happen early 2026. Good afternoon, this is Gavin Batista, your host at the Prosperity Channel. Thank you, and please subscribe. And if you have any questions, simply call me at 405-503-8511. And do not believe what's happening there, the likes, you know. We have millions of likes. The reason why it is not reflected there is because of the fact that we have been hacked. Okay? We have been hacked. But again, you can call me up direct at 405-503-8511. Good afternoon. We are here in Yukon, Oklahoma, Central Time, and I hope to see you soon.